We always hear Nigeria called the sleeping giant. But what if a part of that giant is already wide awake? What if it's already working the land, feeding millions, and holding the key to our entire economic future? Today, we're going to explore a single idea, a distinction that could honestly change everything. Nigeria feeds its people. We know this. But can it build an economy from that very same soil? Now that is the trillion naira question. And the answer could define our generation. To really unlock this potential, we first have to get one thing straight. We need to understand the critical difference between two powerful ideas, agriculture and agrobusiness. See, agriculture is the act of growing food. It's ancient, it's essential work. But agribusiness, well, that's the whole system. We're talking everything from seed genetics and finance all the way to the processing plants and the logistics that move food from a farm to a port. Let me put it this way. Agriculture feeds people. Agribusiness builds nations. So just how big is this engine for our economy? Get this, 35%. That's the total contribution of farming and agribusiness to Nigeria's GDP. Just think about that for a second. More than 1 out of every 3 naira generated in this entire country comes from the soil. But when you look closer, a powerful truth comes to light. While the farming itself is absolutely vital, the real wealth that gets created after the harvest, it's in the processing, the packaging, the branding, the logistics. The World Bank confirms this. Workers in this off-farm sector earn significantly more. This is where real value is added. This is how prosperity is truly built. But look, this story isn't just about spreadsheets and GDP. It's about people, it's about livelihoods, families, entire communities. This is the human engine of Nigeria. 70%. Let that sink in. 70%. That's the proportion of Nigeria's entire workforce employed in the sector. That means 7 out of every 10 working people in this country. It is by far the single largest employer in our nation. And if you want to understand the sheer scale of this, just think about one single crop, rice. From the paddy fields to the market stalls, the rice value chain all by itself supports an estimated 15 million jobs, 15 million livelihoods. And that's just one crop. Now imagine what that means for cassava, for cocoa, for palm oil. It's not just us saying this. The World Bank calls the transformation of agribusiness one of the most powerful tools available for inclusive economic recovery, youth employment, and poverty reduction. This isn't just growth you read about in a report. This is growth that can transform villages and give real opportunities to young graduates. All right, now let's follow the money trail. Because when we look beyond our own borders, we find a paradox. A multi-billion-dollar paradox that defines both our biggest challenge and our greatest opportunity. In 2023, Nigeria exported $2.3 billion of agricultural goods. Our sesame goes to China, our cocoa to Europe, our cashews to India. Our products, they have a place on the world stage. But in that very same year, we imported $6.6 billion worth. Things like wheat, sugar, fish, dairy. We spent nearly 3 times what we earned. The contrast is it's staggering. So that leaves this huge gap, right? $4.3 billion. What does that number really represent? Is it a sign of failure, or is it something else entirely? No, it's a roadmap. Every single product on that import list represents a market just waiting to be captured, a business that could be built right here in Nigeria, creating jobs that could employ Nigerians. That $4.3 billion gap is a $4.3 billion opportunity staring us right in the face. So, the big question is, how do we seize this opportunity? How do we turn that gap into real sustainable growth? Well, this is the trillion-dollar roadmap. First things first, we have to be clear-eyed and honest about the challenges. Poor infrastructure leads to massive post-harvest losses. Access to finance is incredibly limited. And of course, insecurity and inflation add enormous pressure. These problems are real, and they are structural. We can't ignore them. But here's the thing. These problems are not unique to Nigeria, and they are definitely not unbeatable. History itself provides a blueprint. Vietnam built a global rice powerhouse from the ground up. Ethiopia did it with coffee. India with dairy. Transformation isn't just possible. It's been done before, again and again. And the prize for getting this right? It's immense. Projections show that Africa's agribusiness market will reach $1 trillion. 1 trillion. As the continent's largest economy, a defining share of that future belongs to Nigeria, if we choose to claim it. So, what does this transformation actually look like on the ground? Well, it looks like this. Instead of just exporting raw cocoa beans for pennies on the dollar, we process them right here. We create finished, beautifully branded Nigerian chocolate, and we ship that product to supermarkets in London and Dubai. That is value addition. That is how you build an economy. Look, this is not some side story in Nigeria's development. It is the main plot. It feeds our people, it employs the vast majority, and it holds the key to creating generational wealth. The potential is here. The opportunity is now. The only question left is, will we seize it? If you believe this story needs to be told, you can help us tell it. Liking this explainer helps it reach more entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers who can be a part of the solution. Share this with just one person in your network, someone who needs to understand where Nigeria's true economic power lies and the role that they can play in unlocking it. And to be a part of this journey, subscribe to the Agro Garage. We are dedicated to providing the knowledge and insights to power Nigeria's agricultural transformation. Thank you for watching.